Good evening and welcome to Metro Focus. I'm Jack Ford. Trump Tower, Trump troubles. For many New Yorkers, Trump Tower represented the pinnacle of luxury living in the Big Apple. Celebrities like Michael Jackson, Johnny Carson stayed in the building. Some even called it home. But there are some reports of major problems going on within its gilded walls. Here with some details, Shaheen Nasirpour, reporter from Bloomberg News, who took a good hard look at it. Shaheen, it's nice to have you here with us.
Thanks for having me on.
Joining us. I want to ask you about what you found and how it surprised you. But let me start by setting the stage for folks. When Trump Tower was built in 1983, how was it viewed?
So the building was ahead of its time. Donald Trump set out to build this luxury tower in Midtown Manhattan, and the early reviews weren't particularly positive. But he had a vision in mind, and they set up. It was a very unique building at the time it was built. There's this huge indoor waterfall inside. It's full of Italian pink marble. Ivana Trump once joked, whether in jest or whether this is a serious comment, that they had to demolish like some kind of a mountain or boulder. That's how much pink marble that they used for this building. Donald Trump's lawyer, George Ross, he wrote in his book that Donald Trump basically created the luxury condominium market in New York City with Trump Tower, because up until that point, the city is full of co-ops, and the building was very unique in a number of respects, in particular, the establishment of high-end condominiums.
So that probably wasn't an overstatement, saying he established it, the high-end luxury.
Overstatements are common in this world.
Right, so in the real estate world, and I'm not just talking about Donald Trump. If you know any real estate people, overstatements are their currency in
They're
trade,
the coin of the realm.
You will. Coin of the realm, exactly. So you decided to take a look at this. What prompted you to look at it, and how surprised were you by what you were finding?
So I cover the Trump Organization, and so my job is to dig into the Trump Organization's business. And the business, as you know, they own a lot of buildings around the city, and a number of properties around the world in terms of licensing agreements. And the big question has been, how would the business perform with the head of the business in the White House? Would the White House somehow influence or interfere with the business? Would the president, still be keeping an eye on his business while running the country? And there have been intermittent reports ever since his inauguration of January 2017 about how different properties are performing. His business at the golf course, his golf courses, are they doing well? Is his hotel in Washington on Pennsylvania Avenue down the block from the White House, who's going there? Who's staying there? Who's buying drinks? Who wants to be seen there? And so we know with this hotel in Washington, it's become a magnet for lobbyists and favor seekers from all over the world who go there, and they stay there because they know that they'll run into influential figures in the Trump administration.
And that's clearly helped their bottom line.
It has clearly helped their bottom line. The hotel, as far as we know, makes boatloads of money, and it's become one of these, see and be seen kind of places in Washington. There hasn't been that much of a look at Trump Tower. So I thought, why don't we see how this building is performing? Do people still want to live there? Are people trying to move out? Do folks want to rent space from the building? And so that's kind of what I wanted to know, the answers to these questions, so I started to dig.
Let me ask you some different categories.
Sure.
Right? Let's start with residency rates, or occupancy rates, a better term to use for. What did you find in terms of how the occupancy rates have changed recently?
So we're lucky from the perspective of the Trump Tower building. There's a $100 million mortgage on it, and that mortgage was bundled into a commercial mortgage-backed security. And these mortgage-backed securities, they have to update their investors on a regular basis with the performance
of the
underlying loans and the collateral. So there's public information. And what we found is that when the loan was made in 2012, at the time, the occupancy rate was 99%. There was no space to be had in terms of the commercial and retail portion of the building. It's now dropped to 83%. And so the vacancy rate, it's about twice the average of the area, because it's in the Plaza District of Manhattan. So if you know Manhattan well,
very high-end area,
very
desirable
high-end,
area.
Billionaires Row, right off the Plaza Hotel, right off Central Park. It's one of the most, if not the most expensive, it's the most expensive area for office space in the country, if not the world, depending on who you ask. People keep different numbers and they track different things. And there's not that much space to be had, but the vacancy rate in Trump Tower is twice the area average. despite Trump Tower advertising rents well below the area average. So something's off.
Something's off. The overarching question then becomes, and I want to mention that you note in your reporting that the building, nevertheless, even given these numbers, it remains profitable.
Yes,
That
it
there's
does.
some like $10 million a year.
Throws off about 10 million in cash
which is,
after paying them, after making the mortgage.
So it
payment.
is profitable. But the overarching question then is, given what you found here and the fairly dramatic numbers, why do you think that is happening?
It depends on who you ask. Now, if you speak with some of the former homeowners, they'll say, look, it has nothing to do with Mr. Trump or his politics. Rather, it's just become a huge hassle. When you spend a couple $1,000,000 on a condo, you expect luxury. And that's not to say that the building, there aren't luxurious elements of the building. And there's, white glove service, there's tons of security. But that's the thing, there's a lot of security because it's the president's home away from the White House. I mean, he still has a triplex at the top of the building. And the building is just surrounded by concrete barriers. There's police, Secret Service all over the place, in addition to Mr. Trump's private security. And, I spoke with one former homeowner whose parents had lived there, on and off for a number of years. They lived in Phoenix, but every time they'd come to the city, that's where they'd stay. And before the election, things were great. They loved it. It's centrally located. It's got great views, no complaints. After the election, all these concrete barriers come up. It's hard to get food delivered into the building. And one former homeowner, his mother was suffering from cancer. And, she would have to get dropped off. They'd fly in from Phoenix, and the cab would have to drop them off, a couple 100 feet away from the entrance, requiring a long and painful walk home. And that's something that they never dealt with before the election. So from their perspective, building's great, no problem with the politics, but it just became a hassle. It's more than it was worth. Other folks, you speak with real estate agents and commercial real estate brokers, and they'll tell you politics turns off, like half the potential buyers. And although Mr. Trump enjoys, he's got a core group of supporters who love him dearly and will support him, as far as we know, through thick and thin, there are a number of Americans who don't want anything to do with him. And a good portion of those folks have money to spend. And there's lots of luxury buildings in the city. Why would you spend a few $1,000,000 on a condo in Trump Tower when you can stay elsewhere and not have to deal with the Trump brand, with the security, and everything else that goes along with it?
Well, your story was a really interesting look at the history and the personality and the life cycle of a building and how all of these factors can become part of that. So it's really interesting reporting.
Thank you.
We appreciate you spending some time with us, and we'll get you back in to talk some more down there.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Shane. You be well.
Thank you.